Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we have a wild lesson for you at the elementary level.
That's right, we are actually going to visit a farm. So yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to see a lot of animals. And not only that, but we're going to learn a lot of interesting words and phrases in English today. But before we get started, let's take a look at vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O.
And on his farm he had a duck, E-I-E-I-O.
We're not going to be teaching you this song today. Don't worry. You don't have to listen to us sing. But we do have a great word to start us off. It's called, the word is country.
The country. Okay, so you know country as like the United States,
Mexico,
China, etc. But in this case, we are going out to the country. Not out of the country, we're going out to the country.
To the country, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The country, or you might hear the countryside, is a place that's not like a city.
Right.
So it's the opposite of city. It means there's lots of grass. It's very natural. There are very, very few houses and people. It's very quiet. So it's the opposite of a busy city. It's the country.
And you have a lot of animals. So usually farms are found on the countryside or at the countryside.
In the countryside.
So usually farms are found in the countryside.
That's right. And I personally am a big fan because it's so quiet and peaceful.
Very
so
good.
We can talk about that in a minute. Let's listen to today's dialogue first, and then we'll be back to talk about some of the words and phrases.
Isn't this great? I always wanted to own a farm, live out in the country, grow my own food.
This is very beautiful, though I have to confess, I don't know the first thing about farming.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
What was that?
Relax. It was just a goat.
And that?
It's just the cows that are grazing over there. We can milk them later.
What was that?
Honey, seriously, it's just a sheep. Relax. Relax. That was just the horses and donkeys that are in the stable.
You know what? I don't think I can hack it out here in the countryside. I'm going back to the city.
All right, we're back. So obviously some people cannot go to the countryside.
That's right. Some people get very, very upset. In fact, there was a whole TV show in America that was about city people living in the countryside, in the
See
country.
if they can do it, right?
That's right.
All right, but before we talk about that, why don't we take a look at 4 keywords in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
The first word is the name of an animal. Okay, so you've all heard of cows, but have you heard of goats?
A goat.
A goat.
All right, so a goat is a strange-looking animal. It's kind of skinny, and what do you get from a goat?
You can actually drink goat's milk.
Right.
And many people like to eat goat's cheese, which is cheese made from goat's milk.
Okay, so a goat, and we heard that the sound that a goat makes, so I think it's pretty clear what a goat is, and they're very common, as we say, in farms, such as sheep and horses, cows, etc.
That's right. And normally, when they're in the wild, they like to live in rocky places, like mountains.
Right, that's why they say they're very good climbers, because they don't fall off the mountains. All right, and well, if you have cows, then they're probably going to be grazing.
Okay, so to graze is a verb. It's something we do. Well, we people don't do it. Animals do it. It's a way for us to describe how animals, like cows, eat. Means to eat grass.
Okay, so if your cows or horses are grazing, that means they're eating grass somewhere out.
That's right. They're walking. They stop. They eat some grass. They walk. They stop again. It's a very slow process.
All right, so cows are usually grazing out in the countryside, and well, once they finish grazing and they get all fat, then in the mornings you have to milk them.
Okay, so we drink milk. Milk is a thing, but it's also a verb. So to milk something.
All right, and if you milk a cow is when you extract the milk, the liquid from them, right?
That's right. So underneath a cow, there's an udder, or underneath the cow there are udders, which you have to squeeze with your hands to make the milk come out.
Okay.
Okay, and
interesting word as well, udder, right?
Udder.
It's like that big bag full of milk.
Exactly. So to milk a cow.
All right. And you have cows out in the fields grazing, and probably your horses and donkeys are going to be in the stable.
The stable is a place, okay? So this is something that's often found on farms, where the horses or the cows live. It's a structure, it's a building for those animals.
Okay, so they're probably separated in different little rooms or compartments, and that's called a stable. So as you say, you usually find horses and cows and donkeys in there.
That's right. So a stable is a way to protect animals from the weather.
All right, very good. So 4 key words there, as we just saw. Why don't we listen to this dialogue again, and we'll be back soon.
Isn't this great? I always wanted to own a farm, live out in the country, grow my own food.
This is very beautiful, though I have to confess, I don't know the first thing about farming.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
What was that?
Relax. It was just a goat.
And that?
It's just the cows that are grazing over there. We can milk them later.
What was that?
Honey, seriously, it's just a sheep. Relax. Relax. That was just the horses and donkeys that are in the stable.
You know what? I don't think I can hack it out here in the countryside. I'm going back to the city.
All right, we're back. So now let's take a look at Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
You know, Marco, I have to confess, I love Fluency Builder.
All right, and that's our first phrase for today. I have to confess.
Okay, so to confess is to tell someone something that's a secret. Okay, so we can confess with a priest. No, so we can confess to a priest. We can confess a secret to a friend.
Okay.
But I have to confess is a very common phrase. It's a way for us to start a sentence. I have to confess.
Right, so you're saying, I have to be honest with you. I have to tell you the truth.
Exactly. So I have to confess, I'm not a huge fan of that sweater.
Okay.
So I have to be honest. I really don't like your sweater. This is a way for us to be more polite when we're saying something that's negative.
And in this case, it was the girl who was confessing, and what she confessed is her second key phrase. I don't know the first thing about farming.
Okay, so I don't know anything about farming is another way we could say this, or I don't know a thing about farming, but I don't know the first thing about farming means I don't even understand what a farm is. Okay,
Right.
The first thing is, what is a farm? I don't even understand what a farm is for. This is a way for us to say, I don't know anything at all about this.
And if we change the noun, right, and we can say, for example, I don't know the first thing about cars. So I have no idea of what models they are or what type of engine they have. I don't know the first thing about cars.
All I know is how to turn them on.
Right?
Or I don't know the first thing about wines. I'd love to learn about wine, but I don't know the first thing about it.
Okay, so it's a phrase that you can use with many, many different nouns, right? I don't know the first thing about architecture. Or I don't know the first thing about English.
Right, well, we do, and that's why we're here to help you. But this is a really great phrase to describe not understanding anything at all about something.
Right.
So this is a really great way to describe not knowing anything at all about something.
Okay, and well, obviously, since she didn't know the first thing about farming, she ended up leaving, and she said, you know what? I don't think I can hack it out here in the countryside.
Okay, so I can hack it, he can't hack it. We use this with the verb to be able to, and it means I don't think I can do this. I think this is too hard. Okay.
Or maybe if somebody quit, right, after a week at the office, and you can say he couldn't hack it. He couldn't hack the pressure, and he left.
Exactly. So that means to handle, or to be able to handle, or to withstand. So I just don't think I can hack the cold. Right? I can't handle the cold. It's too cold here. I'm moving somewhere warm.
All right, so I'm sure you guys will be able to hack our dialogue one last time. So let's listen to it, and we'll be back.
Isn't this great? I always wanted to own a farm, live out in the country, grow my own food.
This is very beautiful, though I have to confess, I don't know the first thing about farming.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
What was that?
Relax. It was just a goat.
And that?
It's just the cows that are grazing over there. We can milk them later.
What was that?
Honey, seriously, it's just a sheep. Relax. Relax. That was just the horses and donkeys that are in the stable.
You know what? I don't think I can hack it out here in the countryside. I'm going back to the city.
All right, we're back. So, as you said, you're a fan of the countryside and about farming, right?
That's right. Well, I wish I knew more about farming. I don't know the first thing about milking a cow, but I do come from a part of the world in Illinois near Chicago where we have a lot of farms, and I appreciate the quiet and
Yeah, it's nice.
having animals around and being able to go on long walks without cars and horns and bicycles.
And it is actually a little bit refreshing to be out in the countryside sometimes and not even have internet or cell phone coverage or anything. So it's just basically you can't do anything else but relax, read a book, talk to people.
Exactly.
Now, an interesting thing about this is a lot of people take for granted the countryside because I've met many people who live in the city, who grew up in the city and have never seen, for example, a live chicken. And when they see it, they just freak out and take pictures with the chicken or a cow or something. It's
so
amazing.
funny. That's really funny. Well, I think it's very valuable I think there are very valuable skills that you learn being out in the countryside, like how to cook for yourself.
Right.
There's no one else who can cook for you, or how to get food from animals.
Or maybe you can't even use a microwave, so how do you cook without a microwave or something?
That's right. And I think the biggest problem for city people when they come to the countryside is that it's dirtier. Mm-hmm. You know, you get mud and there are bugs. And I imagine some of our coworkers here having a very hard time in the countryside.
Yes, indeed. So why don't you guys come to our website, englishpod.com. Let us know what you think about this. Maybe you're very familiar with the countryside or have a relative who's a farmer. It's great.
In today's story, we'll uncover 5 powerful lessons about managing money. Lessons you might not learn in school but are crucial for achieving financial success. As we dive into Sam's journey, we'll also learn some new words and see how to use them in sentences. This will help us practice English in a fun and easy way. So, stay with us till the end. Once upon a time, in a bustling little town, there lived a 27-year-old man named Sam. One afternoon, he sat on the side of the road, lost in thought. Despite working hard for 5 years, his life hadn't improved. Sam wondered if there was a way to escape poverty and achieve true wealth. As he strolled by a grand mansion, something compelled him to step past the tall iron gate without permission. Little did he know, this daring act would lead him to a life-changing lesson about money. From afar, he saw an elderly man sitting on a garden bench with a cup of coffee in hand. This man was Mr. Hayes, the mansion's owner, a wealthy but humble and generous soul. Sam approached him, politely apologizing. "I'm sorry for entering without permission, Mr. Hayes." Recognizing Sam, Mr. Hayes was surprised by his sudden visit but welcomed him kindly, curious to know why he had come. Sam took a seat beside Mr. Hayes and began, "Sir, I've worked for 5 years, earning a decent wage, yet my life hasn't changed. I don't splurge, but I just can't seem to get ahead. Do you have any advice on how someone like me could become wealthy?" With a warm smile, Mr. Hayes replied, "Anyone can achieve wealth, Sam, including you." He continued, "I'll share 5 principles about money that you won't learn in school. Follow these carefully, and I assure you, you'll find yourself on the path to financial success." Eagerly, Sam listened as Mr. Hayes began. "The first rule," Mr. Hayes said, "is to spend less than you earn. This is the foundation. If you don't master this, you can't move on to the other steps. For example, If you make $5,000 a month, set aside at least $2,000. If it's $3,000, save $1,000. Avoid expenses that exceed your income, whether loans or gambling. Even with a six-figure salary, without this rule, you'll remain in debt. Sam nodded thoughtfully, absorbing each word. Mr. Hayes took a calm sip of his coffee and continued. The second rule is to have an emergency fund. Life is unpredictable. Car repairs, a leaky roof, or even layoffs can happen at any time. Without an emergency fund, you're forced to borrow or sell assets at a loss, which restricts your options and adds stress. Think of it as your safety net, protecting your finances when unexpected events arise. Sam nodded again, appreciating the wisdom in this approach. Let's get to the third lesson, which is investing. Now, people like you might feel unsure about investing in a business or stock since you may not have much knowledge. So, the best investment you can make right now is in yourself. Curious, Sam asked. How, sir? Mr. Hayes continued. Take your skill set, whether it's carpentry, plumbing, or customer service. Invest your time, energy, and money into mastering it further. Learn where your boss sources materials or explore ways to market your services better. Use some of your savings to improve your expertise, attend courses, buy tools, or read relevant books. Realizing the value of these words, Sam looked at Mr. Hayes with newfound determination, regretting he hadn't learned this sooner. Mr. Hayes continued with the fourth lesson. Now that you're gaining skills, it's time to start earning more. Once you've honed your abilities, maybe you'll start your own business and your income will grow. You're no longer paid per hour but earn based on what you produce. The harder you work, the more you earn. The sky was getting darker, yet Sam felt no urge to leave. He was eager to learn the final principle. Mr. Hayes looked at him and said, "And finally, the fifth lesson, create passive income. When you've applied the first four principles, you should have extra money. Now, it's time to let your money work for you. You can invest in property, start a rental business, buy a franchise, or research other sources of passive income. Think carefully and choose wisely." How about it, Sam? Are you ready to take on these lessons? Mr. Hayes asked, ending the conversation with a gentle smile. Brimming with excitement, Sam replied, "I used to just go to work, save a little, and hope for wealth to come my way. But I now understand that there's a real strategy, and I'm thankful, sir, for the invaluable guidance." Today we learned new words and sentences through this story about wealth and financial wisdom. Remember, learning English can be fun when you practice regularly. So, keep listening, learning, and growing. Make sure to like, comment, and share how this story helped you improve your English. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story, where we'll continue learning together.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Something is usual or expected. Norm. The money that a country uses. Currency. The sum of money required to reinstate. Margin deposit. Taking effect rapidly. Drastically. Very quickly. Just a second. Split second. An offer to pay a particular amount of money. Bid.
Let's try that faster.
The sum of money required to reinstate. Margin deposit. Something is usual or expected. Norm. Very quickly. Just a second. Split second. An offer to pay a particular amount of money. Bid. taking effect rapidly. Drastically. The money that a country uses. Currency.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Norm. What's the norm in this company concerning protocol? Norm. This is the norm, so you'd better get used to it. Norm. Delivery, McDonald's, and street vendors are the norms around here. Currency. Before I went to France, I had to change some of my Canadian currency into euros. Currency. What's the currency in this country? Currency. My country's currency is worth next to nothing in USD. Margin deposit. He decided to start with a margin deposit of GBP 100. Margin deposit. I can't believe that I can trade with USD 1 million deposit when I've only put in a margin deposit of USD 10,000. Margin deposit. One has to be careful with trading using a margin deposit because the risk of losing more money than one has are high. Split second. The gang members were closing in on me fast, so I made a split-second decision to run instead of fight. Split second. My heart pounded as I made a split-second decision and took hold of her hand. Split second. My split-second decision to try a trick on my bicycle in order to impress my friends didn't end well. Bid. The current bid ask for EUR USD is 1.3998-79. Bid. I bought euros at an ask of $1.4235 and sold British pounds at a bid of $1.5001. Bid. The bid for Japanese yen and the ask for Hong Kong dollars are really good right now if you trade in US currency.